History loves to glorify Elizabeth I, the queen who defeated the Armada, who forged England's golden age, who ruled alone and seemingly untouchable. But what if I told you the real Elizabeth was not forged by brilliance, but by trauma? She learned silence because speaking meant danger. She stayed unmarried because marriage meant death. She trusted no one because the last man she trusted executed her mother. If you don't know that her father ordered her mother's execution, check that story here. But today, everything changes. What if Elizabeth I never suffered the events that shaped her? What if she grew up loved, protected, safe? Would England still rise? Or would history collapse? Let's find out. Do you think history is made by genius or by pain? A superb vintage, my love, to the future Queen of England, to His Majesty. In our new timeline, May 19, 1536, Anne Boleyn is not executed. Instead of falling to political schemes, Anne is exiled alive, sent to a quiet fortress under royal watch. Henry VIII cools his rage, already turning his attention to Jane Seymour. But Anne's survival changes everything, because one person is watching very closely. Little Elizabeth, only 3 years old. In real history, this was the day her childhood ended. But here, she grows up knowing her mother is alive, distant but alive. That single thread of hope becomes her foundation. Without an execution haunting the court, Elizabeth is never labeled a cursed child, never stripped of legitimacy, never branded with her mother's sins. She remains Lady Elizabeth, a princess with a complicated mother, not a dead one. And the psychological shift is massive. A child raised without trauma does not sharpen herself into a blade. She grows into something softer and perhaps far more dangerous. Imagine if the one thing that hurt you the most never happened. Would you still be you? Hush now, sweetling. It is quite all right. Pay him no mind. He did not mean to be so harsh. Without Henry's paranoia poisoning her early years, Elizabeth's education transforms. No longer a survival strategy, but genuine curiosity. She still becomes brilliant. Languages, theology, philosophy. But now her intelligence is nurtured, not weaponized. She grows confident, expressive, unafraid to speak her mind. Foreign ambassadors describe her not as the silent, observant girl of real history, but as a radiant Tudor princess, articulate, warm, politically aware, a princess who isn't hiding, a princess who isn't afraid, a princess who knows she is wanted. But confidence in the Tudor court is gasoline near a flame, because as Elizabeth grows stronger, another storm begins to gather: the Seymour brothers. Confidence is power. And in the Tudor court, power is deadly. Is she ready for what comes next? The genitive case indicates possession. How would you translate this passage? The Queen's, it must be Regina. Excellent. In our real timeline, Thomas Seymour's predatory behavior nearly destroyed Elizabeth. But in this timeline, Elizabeth is different. At 14, she is not isolated, not naive, not desperate for affection. She has political awareness, and more importantly, she has a living mother who taught her caution. So, when Thomas Seymour begins his familiar pattern, early morning visits, inappropriate touching, playful attempts to cut her gown, Elizabeth reacts differently. She reports him directly to her father. Henry VIII, already suspicious of ambitious men, explodes. Thomas Seymour is arrested, interrogated, and executed for attempting to corrupt the Lady Elizabeth. Catherine Parr, devastated, withdraws from court politics entirely. And Elizabeth, she becomes something new, a political force. The court whispers, she is not Anne's daughter, she is her own woman. Look how everything flips. One change, confidence, and suddenly she controls the narrative. The council has voted for your arrest. They are coming for you now. How dare you speak to me like that? I will not stand for slander against my name. This is our path. We must secure the Atlantic Passage before Spain realizes our intent. They believe a woman cannot defend this realm. They are gravely mistaken. With no Seymour scandal staining her name, Elizabeth enters her teenage years as the preferred Tudor heir. Edward VI admires her. Mary respects her. Neither sees her as a threat, but as stability. When Henry VIII dies in 1547, the divide between Mary and Elizabeth is less hostile. Mary still ascends the throne after Edward, but without years of bitterness. Elizabeth is not imprisoned. There is no tower, no night spent waiting for the axe. Instead, Mary brings Elizabeth into her inner circle, using her diplomacy to calm religious unrest. For the first time in decades, England stabilizes. And when Mary dies childless in 1558, Elizabeth ascends the throne peacefully. But this is where history truly breaks. This Elizabeth is not the Virgin Queen, not cautious, not trauma-forged. She believes in alliances. She believes in trust. She believes in marriage. England's future is about to change forever. A queen who trusts. Is that the beginning of a golden age or a disaster? Your Majesty, this course of action is highly unwise. In this timeline, Elizabeth marries young, not from fear, but from strategy. She chooses Prince Eric of Sweden, and Protestant ally, a man who genuinely admires her intellect. The marriage cements a northern Protestant alliance: England, Sweden, Denmark, parts of Germany. Spain's dominance is checked. France is neutralized. England becomes a continental power decades early. With her position secured, Elizabeth invests heavily in naval modernization, public education, art and patronage, merchant expansion. The Elizabethan Golden Age does not begin in 1588. It begins in 1565. Peace creates progress, but peace never lasts. Spain notices, Rome notices, and so does her cousin, Mary, Queen of Scots.